Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear viewers. I am Professor Dr. Muhammad Usman, Professor of Physiology, and in today's short video we are going to discuss a very interesting topic regarding the physiology of the eye, that is intraocular fluids, and one of their most common abnormality, that is glaucoma. So, basically in our eye there are two intraocular fluids. One is aqueous humor, which is present in the anterior chamber, that is it is present anterior to the lens, okay, anterior to the lens, aqueous humor, and the aqueous humor is a freely flowing fluid. The other fluid is present behind the lens and this is called vitreous humor, okay. Vitreous humor is a gelatinous mass and it is held together by proteoglycan molecules. So, one fluid is present in front of the lens, aqueous humor, and the other is present behind the lens, which is vitreous humor. Now, as you can see, vitreous humor, in the vitreous humor water and various substances can diffuse, but there is little flow of the fluid. It is not freely flowing and there is little flow of the vitreous humor. It is also called vitreous gel. Now, let us discuss the mechanism of secretion of aqueous humor. Aqueous humor is continuously being formed and reabsorbed. Its average rate of secretion is about 2 to 3 microliter per minute, and as you can see in this figure, it is secreted by ciliary processes. So, here is the ciliary muscle, and above the ciliary muscle you can see a rich vascular layer, and on the top of this vascular layer there are ciliary processes which are folded to increase the surface area. So, from these ciliary processes this aqueous humor is secreted. Actually, first of all there is active secretion of the sodium ions in the spaces between the epithelial cells. Then sodium, when the sodium is secreted, chloride and bicarbonate ions, these two anions, they follow these positively charged sodium ions to maintain the electrical neutrality, and then all these ions, that is sodium, chloride and bicarbonate ions, they together pull the water by osmosis. So, in this way this aqueous humor, the bulk of the aqueous humor is formed. Then later on several nutrients like amino acids, ascorbic acid and glucose, they are also transported across the epithelium by active transport or by facilitated diffusion. So, now we will discuss the circulation pathway of the aqueous humor. So, before that I will like to tell you that here in the space anterior to the lens there are two chambers. One is the posterior chamber which lies between the lens and this iris. The posterior chamber is between this iris and lens, and then this is the hole which is called pupil, and this is anterior chamber, this anterior to the iris, between the iris and cornea. So, this is the iris and this is cornea. So, between the iris and cornea this is anterior chamber. So, aqueous humor basically it is produced here in the posterior chamber from the ciliary body and ciliary processes. From here it is secreted, and then after its secretion it comes into the posterior chamber, it baths the lens, and then through this hole, that is through the pupil, it comes into the anterior chamber. In the anterior chamber it also baths various structures like cornea, and then it is drained, it is absorbed in the space between the iris, this iris and cornea. So, this is called iridocorneal angle. Here it is reabsorbed. Let us have a bigger view of iridocorneal angle. So, this is cornea, okay, this is iris, sorry, this is sclera. So, this is cornea, transparent cornea, and this is iris. So, this is the angle between the iris and cornea. This is called iridocorneal angle. So, here aqueous humor is reabsorbed. How it is reabsorbed? First of all, it has to pass through this meshwork of trabeculae. So, it passes through this meshwork of trabeculae where it is cleansed, and then it comes into this canal like structure which is called canal of Schlemm. Then it is drained into these veins which are filled mostly with the water, because aqueous humor is mostly it is water. So, these veins are called aqueous veins, aqueous veins. Then it comes into these proper blood veins. So, this is the proper pathway for the drainage or absorption of aqueous humor. Now, what are the functions of aqueous humor? First of all, it maintains the shape of the eyeball. Okay. It also maintains intraocular pressure. A very important function of aqueous humor is that it provides nutrients, oxygen and electrolytes to the avascular structures such as lens and cornea. The aqueous humor also serves to remove the metabolic end products from the lens and cornea. So, we can say that it is performing function same like that of blood, but it is present in the eye and it is a clear fluid. So, its function resemble with the blood. Now, intraocular pressure is the pressure which results from the aqueous humor, and its normal value is about 15 millimeter of mercury, while its normal range is 12 to 20 millimeter of mercury. Normally, the rate of secretion of aqueous humor is equal to its rate of absorption, that is about 2 to 3 or 2.5 microliters per minute. Now, this is a device which is called tonometer, and it is used to measure the intraocular pressure. While the procedure of measuring intraocular pressure, it is called tonometry. So, here you can see a modern tonometer. Now, let us discuss one of the most common abnormalities related to the flow of the aqueous humor and intraocular pressure, that is glaucoma. In Urdu, glaucoma is called kala motia. So, by definition, glaucoma is a group of degenerative diseases in which there are two major hallmarks, that is loss of the retinal ganglion cells. Okay. We will later study on that in the retina there are many types of cells like rods, cones, and also there are ganglion cells. So, these ganglion cells, they are damaged, and also there is damage to the optic nerve fibers, and this results often due to the abnormally high intraocular pressure, maybe up to 60 to 70 millimeter of mercury. We have just mentioned that the normal intraocular pressure ranges from 12 to 20 millimeter of mercury. So, glaucoma is one of the most common causes of preventable blindness, that is such a blindness which can be prevented if the glaucoma is diagnosed at a proper stage. Now, let us discuss the pathophysiology of the glaucoma. Often the glaucoma is caused due to obstruction to the flow of the aqueous humor. So, if the aqueous humor is not properly absorbed here from the iridocorneal angle, then it will accumulate here, and mostly there is accumulation of some debris or inflammatory products here at the trabecular meshwork, and due to this the flow of aqueous humor is not possible, it is not absorbed here and it is accumulated here. When it is accumulated in the anterior chamber and posterior chamber, then it causes increased intraocular pressure. So, when the intraocular pressure increases, this increased pressure is transmitted right from here back up to the through this vitreous humor back up to the this optic disc point, okay, from where the optic nerve it exits and retinal blood vessels they enter the eyeball. So, basically the axons of the optic nerve they are compressed at this point. When the axons of the optic nerve they are compressed, then the flow of the exoplasm from this cell bodies, these are the cell bodies of the retinal ganglion cell. RGC stands for retinal ganglion cells. So, the flow of the exoplasm from cell bodies to the axons, it will be hampered, it will be blocked. So, there will be decreased nutrition of these optic nerve fibers, which will cause degeneration of these optic nerve fibers. So, the optic nerve fibers will be degenerated with the loss of the retinal ganglion cells, and hence the glaucoma results. Regarding treatment, we can treat it by medical ways and also by the surgical ways. The medical way of treatment is that we place drops in the eyes which either reduce the secretion of aqueous humor or they increase the absorption of the aqueous humor. While the surgical treatment is that we open the spaces of the trabeculae or we make special channels to allow easy drainage and absorption of the aqueous humor. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Stay blessed. Allah Hafiz.